wonder how to get clients through your video marketing or other social media efforts? Do you ever wonder how some online experts and small business owners seem to effortlessly attract leads and clients, become the go-to authority in their niche, become sought-after household names, while others, even if they seem to have better skills and possibly even better content, remain invisible? How do some entrepreneurs seem to endlessly churn out content in a way that feels authentic, that feels natural, like they did it in their sleep? While for others, and maybe for you, it feels like such a slog and like every single video takes so much effort. Well, let me let you in on a little secret. It's not luck. It's not that they have some unfair advantage or a leg up on you or anyone else. What it is that they were once where you might be right now, but they did the work. They put in the reps. They showed up even when it wasn't comfortable. They showed up even when they didn't feel like it. And what did they do? What's their secret? They got visible. It's visibility, and not just any kind of visibility, but the kind of visibility that's strategic, that's intentional, that builds authority and builds demand and desire for what it is that they have to offer out in this world. And in this episode, I'm going to dive into exactly how you can do this too. Welcome to the Camera Confident Podcast. I'm your host, Shirley Engel, former television reporter who, I've got to tell you, was not always confident. Long before I started businesses and became an entrepreneur, I started in television news. And let me tell you, I was awful. I was stiff, and when I was trying to move, I moved my head too much, and I was downright awkward. In fact, to this day, there is a video that lives on YouTube with almost 3 million views that's me reporting on the release of like PlayStation or something. This video continues to haunt me to this day. People comment on my YouTube channel and say, "Hey, you're the PlayStation reporter." And at first I didn't take it seriously until I actually found the video and was like, oh my gosh, this actually still exists. So yes, everybody starts somewhere. And for me, starting in television news, I had no choice but to get comfortable and confident and visible and really experience it all in real time with an audience watching. And that is maybe what you feel like you're having to do right now in 2025, getting visible, getting in front of people, getting people to know, like, and trust you. That is something that takes time to develop. Now, over the years, I put in the effort. I took the feedback, even when it wasn't the most constructive feedback, and I got better. Eventually, I got confident on camera. Eventually, I started producing more videos, and I started reporting live, whether it was breaking news where I had to speak for several minutes straight or longer, or put together stories in a really engaging way with video. Even with that magnetic on-camera presence in television, I wasn't getting the opportunities I wanted. I kept getting overlooked and passed over for other shiny objects. And eventually it really started to erode my self-esteem. And so in 2017, I decided to leave. I wonder if this has ever happened to you before, where you were in a situation where you just felt like you were constantly being overlooked. Maybe that's happening to you right now as a business owner online, and you're trying to compete with all the other people out there who, some of whom are doing maybe the same thing as you and seem to get more views and seem to be more visible. So let's talk about what it really takes to get visible, because I have had to do this not once, not twice, but 3 different times. The first time, of course, in my television career, getting visible, working my way up through from a very small town to the big leagues, the national news, to the political beat here in Ottawa, Canada, which is basically the top of Canadian journalism. So I did that, but then when I started as a business owner, I had a rude awakening. I just assumed that because I had this magnetic on-camera presence, because I had been on TV, surely this is not that hard. But no, it was not easy. In fact, when I started my first business as an interior design professional, I started making videos and they went nowhere. People were not watching them at the beginning, and I just struggled to get engagement. I struggled to get views, and I didn't understand. I knew that I was able to speak on camera, but what I didn't know was how to speak on camera as a business owner, how to relate to my ideal client, how to understand who my ideal client was and make them feel that I understood who they were when I was speaking to them in my content. Because especially in 2025, I still run an interior design business today, by the way, as of the time of this recording. In 2025, how-to content and tips and all of that, it doesn't work anymore. It doesn't work as well as it used to. And the reason for that is because AI has basically made that game obsolete. AI is really eating our lunch. Anybody at any given time can type into ChatGPT or any other AI platform any question they have. And within seconds, they can get all the information they need. So what is the difference between you and that AI bot? Well, as I have discovered in not one business, but two businesses, including the business that I run right now to help entrepreneurs get more confident on camera and tell better stories with video. What is the difference between you delivering how-to content and AI delivering how-to content? You're human. And AI is not. And so instead of it being how-to content, the way I would be approaching that right now is how-I content. So telling stories, using your unique experience as whether you're a business owner or an expert or a coach or a creator, you have expertise, you have life experience, you have stories. Even if you think those stories are boring, you have stories to tell. And that's how you are going to get visible, by telling those stories, by relating, by making people feel something. And as you continue to put yourself out there more and more and more, that's how you start to build that audience, that following of loyal fans who really want to learn from you. They know they can get the information from AI, from a bot, from some other source, but they want it from you because they can't get it from anybody else the way you would deliver it. So that's your superpower, and I encourage you to really lean into that. And that's exactly what I've done, not in one, but in two businesses. Eventually, I realized that the most successful business owners out there are not necessarily the best at what they do. I wasn't the best interior designer, but I was visible. I got on a morning show locally in town. I got on stages. I got on podcasts. And eventually clients would be like, "Oh, I saw you on TV," or "I saw you on stage." I wasn't the best designer in town, but I was a visible designer. I was someone that they knew, that they were able to relate to because they had seen me on TV sharing expertise about design, showing my personality, and having the credibility that comes along with being on a television show. Someone had to approve of me being on there. And so that's what I want for you as well as a business owner. Are there any opportunities that you can get to get visible, not just on your platforms like YouTube or other social media platforms, but in your community? Are there any TV stations like a morning show or a lifestyle show that might need your expertise? Maybe if you're in an area of expertise that the news would want to interview you about, is there an issue of the day that you can weigh in on, that you can bring a real life example to? Because journalists love stories. Getting on the media or getting on podcasts or getting on stage, that is borrowed audience, and it allows you to amplify your visibility that much more. So that was one of the secrets that really helped me break out in my first business, was really getting that borrowed credibility that came with landing some of these opportunities. When I started my online coaching business, I hit another wall. I was once again completely invisible. No following, no social media accounts that, proved that I was an expert at what I did. I mean, they knew that I was on television, but that didn't make me an expert in helping business owners get more visible online. I had to build that up from scratch as well. So what did I do? The same thing. Got onto podcasts, got onto stages. Now, media, this is sort of a bit of a different topic, so that wasn't an area that I have focused on to date, but getting on the platforms where my ideal clients are hanging out, where they're listening, where they're learning. And slowly, even to this day, I'm continuing to build that visibility now across many platforms with a combined audience of many thousands of people. Still not huge, not viral, not anything that, people would consider to be a massive following, but it's a following nonetheless, and it has given me the credibility and the authority to build a business, a successful business that people know that they can come to me and they know they can trust me because they have all this evidence beyond just my social channels of the fact that I really do know my stuff. And I want that for you too. So let me ask you, is there somewhere that you can pitch yourself right now? And podcasts are the easiest place because there are so many podcasts out there, and podcasts are so specialized that there's got to be a podcast out there, a smaller podcast with a smaller audience if you're just starting out, or you can also try big. I do recommend biting off a small piece if you're brand new to this though. There's got to be someone you can pitch right now, today, that will help you get more visible in front of audiences that you're not already in front of. So that's a challenge that I am giving you today, something that you can absolutely do as a result of watching this podcast or listening to this podcast. I know you have it in you, and I would love for you to leave me a comment. Let me know, where are you going to pitch yourself? Did it succeed? What happened? I would love to know the story. I really would love to know if anybody actually goes out and tries this. When I first started as a business owner, I would get so frustrated that I felt like other people were constantly eating my lunch, so to speak. But then I realized something. I realized that the most successful people, whether it was in the interior design business or in the coaching business, they weren't necessarily the best at what they did. They were just the most visible. Have you ever wondered why those people are the most visible? It's because they show up with that kind of gusto and confidence and authority where people watching them, their ideal clients, look at them, know, like, and trust them, and honestly feel like they are the only option for them. They connect with people in a way that makes them realize, look, if it's not this person, then, it's nobody. This is exactly who I want to work with. That's when I started leaning into my strength, video and storytelling. And I went out there and I showed up. I started showing up with confidence, clarity, and conviction. And you know what I didn't do? I didn't go viral. I didn't explode my following into tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of people. But I did start filling up my business with clients before I even started running any ads. Most entrepreneurs think they have a content problem, but what they actually have is a visibility and authority problem. And what they don't realize is that this effort to go viral is not going to solve anything, because what good is going viral if you get a bunch of views and a bunch of people who are not actually your ideal client? They're not going to take any action. They might like a video, or they might get, really, really excited about something that you did, but then they'll leave and they won't come back, because if they're not your ideal client, if you haven't brought them to you in a sustainable way where they really truly feel seen and want to come and spend time with you, not because the one video really got them, but because they start to watch more of your stuff and realize that you are the person for them. Here's the thing. Going viral won't save you if nobody trusts you. More followers doesn't necessarily mean more sales. And posting more content is not going to fix a fundamental problem with messaging, and messaging being what you're actually saying in your content. If it's not landing, no amount of frequently posting is going to fix that. So landing your messaging is number one. That is the most crucial thing. Knowing what to say and having that really, really dialed in so that your ideal client knows that you are speaking to them. That is one of the secrets to getting visible, because the more people feel like you're talking to them, like you're tapping into their emotions, like you see them, like, are you in my head? That's what you want them saying. The more they feel that, the more they're going to trust you, the more they're going to want to work with you. So like I said, AI has completely revolutionized everything. And we now know that really people, when they are buying, investing in products and services, they are not buying the thing. They are buying into the identity, into the transformation, into what they believe they will be like, their life will be like once they invest in that thing, whether it's a service or a product. They are buying into that emotion. It's not the item itself because, if I'm, for instance, looking at a handbag, I have choices between different handbags, but a certain handbag, especially with the right kind of marketing, the right kind of branding, will give me a sense of identity that maybe just another handbag off the shelf will not do, even if those two handbags are identical. One that has the branding, that has the story behind it, and we've seen this time and time again, whether it's handbags or shoes or courses or anything. People will buy into the brand, into the story. And sometimes, even if it's a little more expensive, they're willing to splurge for that because they feel that they will have a certain emotion, a certain identity, or a certain transformation as a result of that. And that is the kind of value that they feel they can't get anywhere else. So how are you going to demonstrate that value for people in your own business, in your own content, in your own products? That is really the challenge. And that is something that I encourage you to reflect on and journal about and really get clarity on. So this isn't just about being confident and being magnetic. It's about saying the right things and saying them in a way that makes you unforgettable. Because think about it. Forgettable business owner means forgettable business, and we do not want your business to be forgettable. Forgettable and invisible businesses don't make money. All right, so let's talk about an action plan because this is a short and sweet episode, and I want to make sure that you leave here with some actionable items. Step one is ditch the generic value add content, that how-to content that people can just plug into ChatGPT. I'm not saying don't do it at all, but what can you do to put your own spin on it, to give it a story, to give it some kind of perspective, a point of view? Can you be disruptive about it? Can you tell stories from your experience as you are teaching that content or giving that value? So stop relying just on how-to videos alone. Tell stories, make people feel something, make them feel like they're at the center of what you are teaching, what you are talking about. And I promise you, they will reward you with their attention and with their engagement and hopefully with their business as well. Don't just share what you do, share why you do it. How long have you been doing it? Why did you get into it? What is it about it that makes you excited, that lights you up? Because no one else can say that. No one else can do that for you. That's what people are going to come to you for. Number two, work on developing that magnetic presence. Your audience will buy into your confidence before they buy into what you offer. Let me say that again. Your audience will buy into your confidence in yourself, long before they buy into what you offer. If you show up uncertain, a little bit of that imposter syndrome, if you're stiff or you're really tightly scripted, you may know if you've been following me for a while that I do not like teleprompters. I find they're a crutch. It's kind of like learning to ride a bike and never taking the training wheels off. Why don't you just learn without them in the first place? The kids who go on those run bikes, those things are amazing. Kids develop that balance and they're off to the races way faster than the kids who are on training wheels. Now, of course, if you can't even string a sentence together without the help of a teleprompter, you can absolutely start that way, but at some point you're eventually going to want to wean yourself off of that. And so that's why I always encourage people to really develop those skills from the beginning of actually telling stories. Because if you're telling a story about yourself, about your personal life, about your professional life, you're going to remember the story, right? Just remember the cues, the key words. So focus on overall concepts, not on trying to memorize things word for word. The key is authenticity with authority. So you want to be real, but you also want to be a leader. You want to be someone who is really authentically showing up, but doing so in a way that people are like, oh, that person really knows their stuff. The third one, leveraging AI to scale your visibility, but without losing your unique voice. Just like I was talking about teleprompters being training wheels, AI should not be a crutch. The way I think about this is, remember the first time you used a calculator? Maybe if you're my age, I'm in my 40s or plus, you learn math the good old fashioned way. I mean, my kids still do, but I know there's a lot of automation and calculators and stuff being used in much earlier in the school system than when I was raised. But once I started using a calculator, I very, very quickly lost the ability to do simple math. To this day, I'm embarrassed to admit that it takes me a really long time to add up complex equations or my times tables. My kids are often telling me the answers before I remember them. And that's because I came to rely so heavily on a calculator that I lost that muscle. I lost that ability to actually do the math myself in my head or on a piece of paper. AI poses the same risk. If you get so accustomed to having AI do the writing for you or come up with your first drafts or refine everything, what are you going to do if one day there's a power outage or one day ChatGPT is down? You want to get to a point where AI is a tool, but it's not a crutch. It doesn't do all the heavy lifting for you because you still want to leave some room for magic. You want to leave some room for that human touch. And you can still absolutely, and I totally advocate this, using AI to make the process faster, make the process more streamlined, more efficient, but not at the expense of losing that unique way that you have of telling stories. And sometimes that will mean stumbling and not editing out your stumbles, and that's totally okay. So use AI to map out video ideas, repurpose content, streamline your workflow. Those are all great, great uses for AI. But just remember, AI can't make you magnetic on camera. I heard recently someone saying, oh, you can just use AI to like fix your eye contact. Please don't do that. That's really creepy. Not to mention that if you're on YouTube, there is a little button where you have to declare if some human form has been altered in any way during the making of the video. So technically that's something that you would be reporting. Just don't do that. Just make eye contact with the lens from the beginning. Here's a few parting thoughts that I really want you to think about. The first is, don't think you have to go viral. Yes, it is a great way to grow on some platforms. I know YouTube specifically, if you have a video that goes viral, it's great. It can very quickly have your channel grow way faster. And that's fabulous. But aiming to go viral, creating content so that you can go viral as a business owner, that is not the best way to build a sustainable business. What you want to do is that careful in the trenches work on your visibility, on your videos, dialing in your messaging, and really speaking to that ideal client. That is going to help you the most because one viral video can get you more people who are subscribed to your channel, but are they the right kinds of people? Are they people who will actually buy your stuff? If you're in this for a business reason, you're going to want to make sure you're optimizing for that. You don't need tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of views. You just need the right views. You just need the right people to find you. So make it easy for them to find you. Talk about the things they're searching for, whether you're using search bars, you're using something like Answer the Public, or if you're on YouTube and you're using vidIQ or other keyword apps to help you zero in on what people are searching for. Really get clear on what your audience wants to know, what they want to learn from you, and deliver that kind of content to them in the way that only you can. So if you're tired of being the best kept secret in your industry, I encourage you to try some of those things and let me know in the comments what you're going to do or what your secrets are. Anything I didn't cover in this episode. Obviously, I couldn't get to everything. I would love to know, what is your visibility strategy? And if you're wondering how fast you can expect to grow, I suggest you watch this episode because it really talks about why slow growth is actually the way to go.